All right, I think we're live. That is the hope. It's never a good start when the show crashes before the show starts. Welcome to Pixel Chatter number 41, my friends. Oh dear. This technology, I tell you what, I've got this computer going in to see an Apple Genius during the week, so not sure what's going to happen for next week's Pixel Chatter, whether we'll have it back or not, but it is still not happy. Still playing up. How's everyone going? Good morning. Let's have a look and just make sure we've got everything happening. Hopefully the stream is working. Hopefully. Let me know in the chat box if you can hear me okay and see me okay, because it's telling me things aren't working, but we're just going to assume they are and continue to carry on with episode 41. Good morning, Ren. Good morning, Gianni, Susan. Good morning, Dave. Handy Parts, Nathan, Anthony, Izzy. G'day. Who else we got in there? Anthony, we've said that. Awesome. Good to see you all in the chat box. And it looks like everything is working, which is good. The only thing I have at the moment is telling me the stream is bad and you may be experiencing some buffering, which I think is one of the things my computer doesn't like. Hey, Brian, Bala, Tim, g'day. Excellent. Everything's working. And the internet's just sped up a little bit as well. There you go. Time for a bit of... Well, I think in the US they say cup of joe. Anybody in the US can correct me? Cup of joe. Time for a cup of joe. This is a cup of Ben. Pixel Chatter. All right, so today's show, we are going to be covering a fair bit. We've got a viewer's shot kit, so thanks for sending those in. I got a few of those now, which is good. I was running out, and then all of a sudden everyone sent their shot kits in. But if you want to get yours on the show, down in the description tells you how to do it. We are going to be announcing the winners of 3 VIP challenges. Brian Willett reminded me that I'd actually forgotten to judge one, or announce one, which was Jeddies. And maybe that was a subconscious thing, Brian, because I want to be the Jedi King. I'm happy to share that out with everybody else. And then we've got Nature and Reflection. So they're the VIP challenges, gang. If you want to get involved in those challenges, the way to do that is to become a VIP, a very important photographer. And I'm really grateful to those that are in the VIP group. To become a VIP, you simply go to patreon.com/on3legs. That's with the number 3. And you join up as a VIP, little as $2 a month, and you get to participate in the VIP challenges. And you help fund the channel as we grow and do exciting things. We're working towards getting a stabilizer for some better B-roll footage during the vlogs. That's what we're working towards as the first goal in that group. And it certainly helps when, I travel for photography or buy photography gear, etc., etc. It's just all round, I'm very, very grateful for you being a part of that group. We are going to do we have a sticker. Well, I think it is. I have an envelope. There we go. I have an envelope sent to me from Stephen and Kylie Cast in New Zealand. So I'm hoping there's a sticker in there for the worldwide sticker board. We will open that together very shortly. And then I've got a couple of images to critique as well. So I've got a very minimalistic image that normally is not my thing. So it's going to be interesting. And I've got one from Rob Roy with water in it. He takes a lot of photos like me. He loves things like water. Thanks for all your feedback there. Everything's looking good. Yeah, we shouldn't have any buffering now. It's telling me that the stream is healthy. We've got good speed, and everybody should be A-OK getting a good stream from the show. I haven't put the Twitter the Twitter box back up. It's purely because things are playing up, and it's just another bit of complexity I have to worry about. So I will, once I get this computer looked at, hopefully we will be able to just get everything happening, because I think I've tried everything I'm prepared to try. The computer guy sort of says, I think it's time for your computer to go into the Apple hospital and see if they can work out what's going on. So that's what's going to happen. All right. Let's have a look at the chat box and see who's joined us. It's a bit like a game of tennis, isn't it? I'm doing this because the chat box is over here. Alrighty. They said they're ready. Anthony said, I can hear the turbines winding up, obviously waiting for the show to start. And I said, coming soon. And that's because I had to restart everything because right at launch, everything crashed. And he said, so is Christmas. Yeah, Christmas is actually not too far away now. It's coming. And then the handy part said, let's see which one comes first. All right, who else has joined us? Oh, there's Greg. G'day, Greg. Perfect stream. Thank you. Brian says, crash here. Hopefully there's no crash. Find no buffering for Izzy. Good stuff. G'day, John from North Carolina. Welcome to the show. Alrighty. Now, if you haven't set your stickers in for the worldwide sticker board up there behind me, jump onto the description down below. My P.o. box is there. Send me a sticker. Send me a self-addressed envelope inside. I'll pay for the postage. I'll return you something back. Some goodies. Send me in a sticker and I'll send you some goodies. Okay. Let's get stuck straight into things here. Always good to give social media pipes a bit of a plug, so let's do that. Just make sure you are following me on these channels. It was interesting. I did a bit of a test on Instagram over the last couple of months because I'm trying to determine, and I don't know how many of you are doing this, but you know, on many platforms, it's very difficult to be on multiple platforms and consistently post. And so what I did was I went to my, I decided to focus more than anything on my Instagram, because I haven't done it for a while. And I had, I think, 1,165 followers or something. And for 30 days straight, I posted an image and I put relevant tags into every image for 30 days. And I actually didn't gain any followers, which was, I did gain some, but then you lose some. So unless you follow these followers back, typically they leave you within a few days. So I'm not sure Instagram's a great platform unless you have another way to leverage off of it, because in the next month, what I did was I've been sharing my Instagram handle on all my YouTube videos, and I'm now at 1,200, so I've gained 35 followers. So Instagram's an interesting platform to get noticed on, I think. I think it's very busy. There's a lot of photographers there. I use Instagram and I'm going to do a video on this. It's on my video list of how I find my locations. I actually use Instagram when I go somewhere to find photography locations. It works really well for that. As long as, you know, most people do tag their images pretty heavily. That means you can find things that are tagged easily. But yeah, anyway, you can follow me over there, see how we go. I'm going to continue to share it and see how we go building the following up on Instagram and see if it's a worthwhile platform to be on. Facebook has been disappointment for a long time now. You know, my Facebook page grew pretty quickly when I was sharing images every day to about 7,500 followers. And that's where it stayed now for probably a year. Because, of course, some people unfollow you, some people follow you. But I think, you know, Facebook pages, not many people see my posts on there unless you are, I think, you got to subscribe to the notifications. So it's interesting. You know, social media is interesting for us photographers, or for anybody at the moment. And you know, it makes it very difficult for us to be able to get reach out there. Somebody shared with me a blog post from a photographer who was, you know, he's running a gallery with his wife. He's just shut his gallery down after 6 years, and how tough he's finding it to really you know, continue to sell his prints and be significant in such a busy market. And I think for photographers, it is difficult right now. It's the largest hobby in the world. We're in the most prolific sharing time in the world. Like, you look at social media everywhere. It's very difficult to stand out from the crowd. Cameras are within reach of everybody. Training is everywhere. I mean, you know, it's got to look at YouTube. I mean, you can learn just about anything on YouTube these days. You don't have to do classes or buy books anymore. So it's interesting to see. We're in interesting times, I think, for photography, or for anything, but definitely for photography, and social media plays a big part. So anyway, let's go to the viewer's shot kit and have a look. I had a few sent in to me, so I'm going to do them in order that they were sent in to me, from oldest to newest. We're just going to, next week I'll do another one, and the week after I'll do another one, etc. Anthony says, Instagram is full of bots. It's very annoying. Yeah, I find it quite annoying. I agree. All right. Let's bring this shot kit up. So this shot kit was sent in to me by Lee Quimby, who is also known as Cool Pics, which is spelled with a Q, Q-O-O-L-P-I-C-S, Cool Pics. Not sure if I haven't seen him in the chat box this morning. But Lee sends me in this kit, and it's always interesting having a look at other photographers' kits. If you look on YouTube, one of the most popular videos that people watch is what's in someone's camera bag. And this idea of putting this on my show came from the fact that a fella called Mark had a site called shotkit.com. And he featured my kit on there in the very beginning, I think, when he kicked off the site. But there's lots of photographers' kits on there, and it's just interesting to go and look and see what people shoot with. Especially if you've got a photographer you follow. If you can see what it is they shoot with, it gives you an idea of sometimes how little equipment they have. You know, that a lot of photographers don't take very much at all. They just have their favourite bits of gear. Anyway, so this is Lee Quimby's pack, and in his kit he's got a Nikon D810 as his main camera. So you can see that there. The D810, he's got a 70-200, a 16-35, and a 50mm. So that's his sort of his lenses for that. He then has a backup camera, which is a Nikon D7200, and he has some lenses for that, DX lenses. He's got an 18-140, 55-300, and a 35mm 1.8. And then he's got some filters. As you can see, there is Lee filter kit. He's got hard grabs, some soft grabs, a little stopper, a big stopper, and a circular polarizing filter as well, which is really important if you're going to take landscape images. Can make a big difference to your final image, and something you can only do on the shoot, not in post-processing, is add CPL, which is circular polarizing filter. Yeah, he's got his memory cards there. He's got the RFN4S remote shutter. If you have a look there, that's the one in between the two cameras there. That's the one that I use and recommend. It's awesome. And it was interesting, in fact, that I'll talk about that shutter in a second, because somebody sent me a message during the week that they couldn't buy it from America anymore because of the Aussie Amazon opening up. And then he said he's got a tripod. He says, cheap, unbranded, LOL. And I always say, you know, your tripod is probably one of your most important bits of gear if you're going to, if you want sharp images. So many people focus on, you know, their cameras and their lenses, and they forget to upgrade their gear. So thanks for sending that in, Lee. Just enjoying my cuppa. Who else is having a cup of coffee this morning? So I know a lot of you are from Australia, which means that we're in similar time zones. Those of you that are in, I guess, places like Carolina or the US are probably having a nice evening drink like a beer or a scotch or something. I don't know what you'd be having. Because it'd be Friday night for you. But at the end of the week, it'd be time to get ready for the weekend, wouldn't it? Alrighty. So that's pretty cool. Thank you for that, Lee. All right, let's jump straight into the challenge winners. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to mention I was talking about that RFN 4S remote. Has anybody got one of those? Who else has got one of those? Just let me know in the chat box. Chat box seems to have stopped. I hope everything's working, because there we go. Big Oz has just jumped in. Thanks, Big Oz. Here's Greg. Good stuff. The chat box is definitely still working, pumping along. The RFN 4S. So somebody sent me a message during the week and said, I'm trying to buy one of these from Amazon, but they won't let me get it from the US store, and I've got to buy it from the Australian store, and it's $220. And that's weird. The Amazon seem to allow some people to ship to Australia, some to not. And when they've got stock in the Australian store, it looks like they're forcing you to go to the Aussie store. I did somehow manage to hack it, and I got into the American store, and I could have ordered some for about, I think, $70 US. What this guy did was he ended up buying it from B&H, and I've bought quite a bit of stuff from B&H over in the US. They're pretty reasonably priced, and within a week you'll have your stuff. It comes from the US. So if you are struggling to order from Amazon and you want one of those remotes, go to B&H and you'll get them. You'll get one for a bit less than what they want to charge on Amazon. G'day, Retrocard. Retrocard? Oh, I don't know if I've got that right. From across the ditch, got John there. G'day, John. Having a wine. Awesome. Okay, let's jump into these VIP challenges. And then we'll do the worldwide sticker board. We'll open up the envelope together and we'll see what's in there. Okay, jumping into the VIP challenge. Let's go in. Okay, albums. So I've got 3 to do. 3. I'm just going to share my screen. Let's jump across there. Hopefully this all works without any issues. There we go. It's actually struggling a little bit. Must be the internet. There we go. So what happened was this particular category here, which was jetties, I forgot to judge or announce the winner. Anyway, so I've had the boss have a look at these this morning. And we'll go through them now and just have a look at the images. Come on. Come on, internet. You can do it. All right, let's... That's one from Rob Roy. Come on, internet. Let's just go back to the beginning. All right. We'll start that again because things aren't going very well. Oh, crikey. The internet, I think, is going slow. Let's go back to the beginning. All right, where's all this? There we go. All right. So what happens is each week in the VIP group, which is the very important photographer group, I have a challenge. And some weeks there's a lot of people get involved. Other weeks very few do. I think it must depend what's going on. But it's a way for us just to, continually have something to shoot. So this particular week was jetties and I forgot to judge it. I probably was supposed to do it on a show where the computer kept crashing and it just got left. So here we go. All right, Rob Roy said, I know it isn't an Aussie jetty, but he said, I'll take what I can get. It's a pretty old bridge over the Columbia River near Portland, Oregon, near sunsets. Awesome. Lake Clifton, Ren Thielen. This is actually, I met Ren here when I was over in WA. These funny little round things in the water here are called thrombolites. Really quite unique. Awesome. Another one from there. Very low tide. And another one. Some good leading lines. Lovely stuff. Then we got this one, which is from Anthony Younghusband. Lake Wendouree, Ballarat. Wendouree, Ballarat, Victoria. Another one from the same spot. I like that one. That's nice. And this one here from Anthony is Princess Pier, Port Melbourne. Very easy to get to, but always popular if you're down there. All right, so that's the entries for that one. And let's have a look. The runner-up for the jetty is Ren Thielen, which is this shot here. There we go. That was the runner-up shot with the thrombolites. And then the winner of the jetty competition was also Ren Thielen with this shot. So there you go. Well done, Ren. You got honourable mention and winner for jetties. All right, let's jump into the next one. Let's go back into albums. And the next one is Nature. And this would have normally got announced last week, but of course I was moving offices, which I've got to go in and do some more work after this live stream because we've still got plenty to do. But let's go through and have a look at the entries. Some great images. Wait for the internet to catch up. It's just got a black picture. There we go. Look at that. So what have we got here? Rob Roy. Baby geese. Aren't they cute? Ren Thielen. The Milky Way. Always good to capture the Milky Way. It's interesting. Another one from Ren here. There we go, one from Gary Davis. Nice to see some new entries coming in. Thanks, Gary. Stephen Cast, Milky Way. Look at that. Nice. Another one there from Stephen. Nice foreground and long exposure in the sky. So, the runner-up is Stephen Cast. So he gets honourable mention for this one here, which is, looks like a nice beach somewhere. And the winner for Nature goes to Rob Roy with the baby geese. The boss obviously liked the baby geese, so they were very cute. All right, let's get on to the next one, which is a reflection. So if I go into photos here, to the albums, and we'll go into reflections. This one had quite a lot of entries, which was good. Reflections. Let's have a flip through. Wendy took a black photo. No, just kidding. The internet's coming. Here we go. Wendy with the reflections in the water here, you can see. So this is a chance for people to get creative. You can see all the reflections of the trees and the rocks and everything. This one here. This one here with the light reflection off of this building from Jill. Nice one. Ren getting artistic. There's reflections. Another one from Ren, some reflections in the water from the clouds and the sunset. Another one from Ren. Ren's always a big participator. They're allowed to submit 3 images each. Some more reflections in the window here from Brian. Reflections in the pond here from Rob. A little fishy there. More reflections in the glass from Brian here. Awesome. Alrighty. And the runner-up is this one here from Brian is the runner-up. Well done, Brian, for that one. And the winner goes to Rob with the bird feeder. Very cleverly done. Composed really well. You can see the reflection of the fish in there. So good job, guys and girls. Well done for participating in the VIP challenge. If you want to jump into the VIP challenge and get involved, VIP stands for Very Important Photographer. I'm sure you're one of those. And you can join the VIP group by going to patreon.com/on3legs. It's down in the description. Come and join the VIP group and hang out with us. All right. Yeah, so well done to all of those people. And just well done for those of you having a crack and entering your images. Alrighty. It looks like Dave's just made a coffee. Good stuff. Coffee and toast for Anthony. Nice. Susan's onto her second coffee. Yeah, I just finished mine. Mine's empty now. All gone. What do we got there? Yes, good on you, Ren. Well done. Well done, Rob. Well done to all the winners. Brian. Good. Well done to everybody who participated in the VIP challenges, because that, my friends, is how you get better. You want to get better at photography? Go and take a lot of photos. It was interesting. During the week, I released a video about famous landscape photography. I was asked, in fact, I was asked what one famous landscape photographer inspired me, and it got me thinking. First of all, what's famous? Because how do you define famous as far as photography goes? But one of the photographers that has inspired me, there was many, right? So I did a video of 9. But the one that when you read his story and you understand his story, Ken Duncan, he's an Aussie photographer, landscape photographer. He took 5 years and he just went around Australia with his wide panoramic camera for 5 years, and he took 80,000 images. You want to get good at photography? That's a good way to do it, isn't it? Take about 80,000 photos, because I'm sure by the time you're done, and if you do it every day, you go and take a lot of photos, you're going to remember what settings work well and what settings don't. That's for sure. All right, guess what time it is? Ta-da! Worldwide sticker board. You can see the worldwide sticker board up there. Let me bring the microphone over here. We have a sticker here from Gary Davis from Bathurst in central Tablelands, New South Wales. We then have another one. If we cross over to the other side of Australia here, you'll see these little things here are flags. There's one there. That is from Ren Thielen over in WA. And I've got to keep checking because I can never remember. It's Waruna, WA. And then if we go up the top here, all the way over here, you'll see another flag. And that one there is Chance Sealer over in Arizona in the States. So we've got a sticker here that's come in from Stephen and Kylie Cast in New Zealand. Or an envelope. I don't know what's in it. Could be anything. But let's open it up and have a look. It's exciting. Always exciting when we open the mail. By the way, if you want to send me something, the address is down below. Here we go. What have we got here? What have we got? All right. So he sent me a sticker with his address. I won't show you all that. See that? All right, here we go. It is from Steve, and he says, "Hi Ben, I tried to get a sticker or fridge magnet for the wall. We don't have either available in Hope, but we do have this postcard of the local store at the beach. It's about 50 metres from my house, and it is a local icon. To locate me on the map, we are near Wakatani. Oh, it's pronounced like an F, the WH. Wakatani. I won't say that too slowly. Wakatani, in the Eastern Bay of Plenty in New Zealand. Awesome. And beautiful. There's the postcard there. So I've got to try and locate that on the map. Whakatane. I can see why we all pronounce it Whakatane, because that's what it looks like. All right, well, I'll stick that up on the map after the show, and that'll be going up there. Thank you very much, Stephen. So we got the postcard, which is awesome. So I'll just pin that up somewhere and put a flag in for Whakatane. And we'll make sure that you're on the map. Good work, brother. Fantastic. So make sure that if you, if you want to get yourself up on that worldwide sticker board, that's all you got to do. Anybody can send me in a sticker. We'll get it up. And as you can see, be creative. If you can't get a sticker or a magnet, find something else. It could be a feather from the local park, from some, unique bird from your region. I don't care. Send me something in and we'll stick it on the worldwide sticker board. Make sure you stick your address in there for me as well, so I can send you back some goodies as a special thank you for sending in something to me. Alrighty, let's go to the chat box, and then we're going to jump into some image critiquing. Thank you very much, gang. Let's jump in, and it's good to see the stream's working well, which is nice. Okay. Anthony says, I used to go to the bookstores to look at Ken's coffee books back in the early 80s. It was his books that inspired me to travel to the Australian outback. Yeah. His books are awesome, aren't they? Fantastic books. And if you want to get inspired, Ken Duncan's work is amazing. He just has he went to some amazing places. And that's the other thing, I think, for photographers that, if you ever feel like you want to get better photos, just go away for a week with your camera and just take a lot of photos and go to some amazing locations. And, the location plays a part. It's like anything. If you're trying to take amazing photos down the end of your street, unless you live somewhere like Stephen does, right on the beach. But like for me, I have to travel at least an hour before I get somewhere worthy of a decent photo, of something that's a wow factor. But, if you can go 4 or 5 hours sometimes to get somewhere amazing. So I'm a big fan of travelling a little bit, because it also gets you to get out and about, and it's always nice to go away, grab your spouse and head out. Or your spouse, well, maybe you don't have a spouse, go on your own, but grab a good friend. Good company is always welcome when I'm travelling. Alrighty, let's jump into some image critique. This week we've got a couple of images to critique. Let me just get Lightroom up and running again, because this is the one thing that I didn't get sorted 100%. Alrighty. Let's bring up the main screen. Let's hope this all works well. Okay, so I've got 2 images sent in to me for today's image critique. Well, I've got plenty. If you want to send your images in for image critique, it's simple. Go down into the description and you'll see my email down there. Send me 3 images. Make sure you include the EXIF information, and make sure they're at least 3,000 pixels on the longest edge, so I can have them at a decent size on my screen. I have a high resolution monitor, and can't remember what they call it, retina monitor, whatever it is. So, but something that's on this screen needs to be twice as big for me to see it at the same resolution. I think that's how it works. Okay, so I've got this one here from Rob Roy. Rob has all these beautiful images of water and green moss from wherever he lives. And we've got this one that's got sent in to me. And this one was sent in by Stephen Algie, who is Spanner from memory. I don't think he's in the chat box this morning. But this is more like a fine art shot. So it would have been a great reflections entry. So we're going to have a quick look at that one as well. In fact, I might start with this one because there's not a lot to say about an image like this. I don't normally do this minimalistic sort of photography. But I see a lot of photographers do this sort of fine art photography, and it's very popular. But it's just, for me, there's not enough going on, but I can appreciate it. What I think is, when you get water so still that you can get it like that, you can see that most of it's blown out. So if we go into the develop module over here, I reckon you wouldn't be far off everything blown out. If I was to click that and just bump the exposure up just a little bit, you can see that it's very high key, isn't it? So it's really got blown highlights going on, which is part of the trick to this type of photo. You can see the ripples in the water down here and then the reflections. What I did find interesting, and I would probably remove these if it was me, and I don't know if that's what's happened here, but you see that these reflections are really well defined, but then there's these other reflections here that are just a bit weird. I would probably try and just clone those out. I don't know if that is what you've done, and that's why they're really quite grayed out. I'm not sure, because, yeah, I'm not 100% sure. But to me, that would be, if you blow that up on a big canvas to stick on your wall, you would see that there was, it just looks like they haven't been cloned out. Okay, I'm back. I think I'm back. I think I'm back. Time to put the kettle on. Yes, I am back. I can hear myself on my on my phone. There we go. Okay, so we've got it back up and running. Nothing like a bit of a mid-show crash just to make things interesting. Okay, let me jump back to where I was, which was... I can see we've got some weird stuff going on there. Here we go. There we go, that's better. All right. Okay, so let's look at the technical details of this image. I'm not going to say much about composition or anything. I mean, it's quite a simple shot. There's not a lot I would change. It's pretty straightforward, isn't it? So, shot at ISO 100. 187 millimeters, so that was interesting. So obviously zoomed right in. F8, 1/250th of a second. So it could be handheld, don't know. This was shot with the Canon EOS M5, which has a 55 to 200 millimeter f4 4.5 to 6.3 lens on it. Yeah, nice image. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go back here. Oh, crikey. There we go. Sorry about that. So yeah, very, very minimalistic. I mean, the only other thing you could do is just make sure, have a good look around the image and make sure there's nothing that needs cloning out. Like I said, if I was, I would go into Photoshop and clone out this section here. If I zoom in a bit, you'll see what I'm talking about. Just here where, you can see that this here is really well defined. All of this wire, where this wire is, but there's something going on here, and I don't know if maybe you have attempted to get rid of that, or maybe it just, I don't know, maybe it's under the water, so it's harder to see. I don't know what's happened there. But yeah, really nice, simplistic image. I think from a crop point of view, I would have probably just brought this, I don't know what I would have done. Tried to get this where the main sort of section there is. I would have tried to make sure that was on the, let me just unlock that. Tried to have that more on an intersection, but then, I'm losing something at the top there by doing that. So maybe, something like that, just so that's more on the intersection. Just think about that when you're cropping, because it does make a difference. Look at that as opposed to, as soon as I move it off of that intersection, it just makes a difference. And it's just including that little bit more. It's cropped anyway. I know it's cropped, so it just makes that little bit of a difference. G'day, Mike. You can hear me, but the resolution is low. Yeah, unfortunately, that's probably to do with my internet catching up. Yeah, it says it's a bad stream, so it'll be right. It'll just give it a minute. It'll come good again soon, hopefully. Yeah, as you can see, it says up here, see it's bad. I don't know if you can how well you can see that. Bad stream. That's when I've got that up there, usually that means you're getting a bad stream as well. So there you go. Ah, dear, oh dear. These are the challenges of live streaming, gang. Sometimes that things don't go to plan. And I think that's been the case for many years in any format, especially when you're a solo operator. I'm running the entire show here. I don't have any producers. The stream is speeding up now, so it's getting better again. I don't know why that happens. But this is a great broadcasting software. This is like the world's #1, this Ycast, but I think the computer just lets me down. The internet here is terrible, so I'm actually operating off a little wireless dongle just so I can get the upload speeds, because my NBN is dreadful, which is my national broadband network. And those of us that are in Australia would understand what I'm talking about. Okay, so thanks for sending that one in, Steve. It was, like I said, not my typical type of images, but it was good to have a look and, because I don't normally do the minimalistic thing, but a lot of photographers do, and I think it's more like a fine art type of a thing. So if that's your thing, cool. Yeah, not what I would normally do, but good shot. I do like it. I like the minimalistic of it. I think it would be nice on a canvas and up on a wall somewhere. It's just quite simple and quite striking. All right, let's have a look at Rob Roy's image. Now, Rob took this one here of like a little creek somewhere, and this is more down my alley. Is sort of more of a landscape, and getting to understand. For me, I find the simplistic ones probably just more challenging. I probably should go and try more, because it's just out of my comfort zone. As where this is more in my comfort zone. This is the sort of thing that I normally would shoot, is I'd go out and shoot something like this. Let's have a look at this technically, and then we'll have a look at composition, and we'll see what we could have done differently. So this was shot with the Nikon D500 at ISO 64, 165 millimeters. So it's going to be quite compressed. F18, 1 second. As you can see, quite low down, I would say. And he said it's taken from Calmers, Washington, a little creek called La Calmers Creek. It was overcast and perfect time to shoot little falls. Good. So you can see it's got that beautiful soft diffused light on it, which is really important when you're shooting, water. In particular, you want to make sure that the areas where the water is whitewashing, you can see how quickly you can start to lose the detail in those areas. So it's really important that you've exposed for these areas, not for the foreground, not for the surrounding areas. Otherwise, you'll find yourself with blown highlights. But this is well exposed. If you have a look at the histogram up here, you can see it's well exposed. We'll jump into the develop module quickly. One of the challenges with using a zoom lens, so shooting at that focal length, 165 millimeters, even at f18, you can see if we go up the back here of the image that things are out of focus. Now I'm zoomed right in there. I'll just zoom out a little bit. Let's go to, even at 1:1, we should probably still see that it's relatively out of focus up there. Now that's okay. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but that is one of the challenges, is that it's hard to get focus all the way through the entire image at a focal length like 165 millimeters. And I don't know how close you could get, but if you wanted everything to be in focus, then you'd need to get closer to this point and put a wide-angle lens on, and then at f18 everything will be in focus. But that's, maybe that's the effect you're going for. So that's fine. I feel that this image would have been better if you had the camera up higher. And the reason I say that is I feel like there's just too much mossy rock, and there's no focal point at all. If I put the crosshairs on from the rule of thirds, you can see that nothing sort of sits on any of those intersections. So, we can, once again, technically the photo's taken really well. From a composition point of view, the challenge is that it's not drawing me into the image. It's very flat. It's very two-dimensional. It's probably the right word to use. And because it's shot so low down, you don't get the water flowing through the image. So you can see the water up here, you can see the water here, but you can't really get it flowing right through the image. So I definitely would have tried to have shot higher up, and I don't know if that's possible because I wasn't there, but I would have tried to get up higher and shoot down on it so I could see the water flowing, because it's probably a nice S looking at it, a nice S-shaped creek or something. To make this image work a bit better, I would probably try and crop it up a bit in some way. I'm not sure what I would do to try and make it work. But let's just try a couple of things to see if we can make it work a bit better, because that's the trick. So there's a crop that probably works a little bit better. And all I've done, if you look at the crosshairs on the rule of thirds, is I've put the crosshairs on the water here. There's a little bit of white water, and that's the, you know, for me, that is what you've got to do with an image. Is you've got to really think about, how do I make it so people want to, you know, get drawn into the image, because really that's what you want. You want people to feel like they're there, and they want it. They can't stop staring at it, and so you've got to try and make it more appealing. The other way you can do that with an image that's busy like this. Let me just undo the crop so we can. Go back to the original. I'll just undo the crop manually. There I was trying to do a shortcut by just pressing Control Z, but I've made so many changes that. Okay, I'm going to go back here. Okay, get rid of the crop. With an image like this, which is really busy, and it's like it's sort of like when you take a photo in a rainforest. It's the same challenge, right? You've got all this green. It makes it quite hard to really have something standing out. So this is where using a vignette can work really well. So I'll give you an idea of what I'm thinking about. If you come down here, see the post-crop vignetting, you can actually dial in whites or blacks. Hang on, I've got a croak in my throat. Can you hear that? Excuse me. There we go. So by adding a bit of a vignette, you sort of draw the eye into the middle. So I'll just do that. I'll do it to about there, just to give you a look. And let's just have a quick look at that so you can get a feel for what I'm talking about. And that's all I've done so far. So if you have a look at before and then you look at after, and you see how the vignette just sort of forces your eye into the image. Okay, just something like that can make a bit of a difference. The other thing that works really well is then if you go to your local adjustment, so use this brush up here, click on the brush, and you bring clarity right up to start with. And then you use your clarity brush on whatever it is you want to really stand out. Like look at this water, for example. I'm just going to go over the water in the foreground. Sort of just the water. There we go. Okay. So now if I go back to this lightbox view and we get rid of that's it. So if I go to before and then I go to after, can you see the difference? Just two minor changes have made. So I just vignetted the corners and I added clarity to the water, so to what I would consider to be the main feature. And that's all I've done. So before and after. Okay, before and then after. Like it's ever so subtle, but to me, it can really make or break an image, because what it does is it forces my eye to the area that has clarity, that's a bit lighter in exposure. It forces my eye there because that's just how our eyes work. And it removes the distraction of trying to look at what's up here and noticing that's out of focus. And it really makes this the focus. So let's just jump back out of there now. And I'm going to just crop this in just a little bit to make it work a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to crop down the top a bit. We don't need all of that in there. Let's do this and just bring that up like that. Okay. Now what I've done is I've added a crop as well. And you'll see that this vignette is a post-crop vignette, so it's it operates off the crop, so you don't need to adjust that. You can crop, and because of the way this vignette works, it'll just keep applying itself. I'm just going to lighten it up just a little bit, and I'm going to grab a graduated filter. I'm just going to... Am I going to do that? I was thinking about doing it from the top and bottom as well, but I think, no, you know what? I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it like that. The other thing that you can do, if you really want something to stand out in an image, and there's a lot of colour, is you can desaturate what's not important. So watch this. Let's bring the clarity back to 0. Let's bring the saturation down to -100. I'll lift it back up in a second because I just want to over-exaggerate it. So let's say that we want to really have the bit in the middle stand out. Desaturate areas that don't matter as much. Right, so you can see that I'm doing that here. I'll show you with the before and after in a second. And what you do is you keep the middle saturated, or what you want to stand out, you keep it saturated. Now all I'm doing is using my brush here. You press the Alt key if you want to undo somewhere where you've done something and you want to undo it a bit. Now I won't keep it at -100 because it's a bit much, but I do that because it shows me easily where I've been without having to have the mask red on, so I can see what's happening. Now if I just go back into this view here, and we go to before, and we go to after, you'll really start to see the difference where I've desaturated things. Can you see that? So now I've done 3 things. That's all I've done. I've added a vignette to the corners. I've added clarity to the areas I want to stand out. And I've desaturated the areas I don't want to stand out. Okay, and so it just changes the image to a point where your eyes are drawn to what's more important. 3 simple changes, right? So, and this is why it's it's so simple sometimes to be able to go in and make small adjustments that make a huge impact. Because you don't need to be a master at Lightroom and editing. You just need to try a few simple changes and you'll get a great result. So, as you can see. Now, the last thing that I would do to this image is I would say that this hasn't been shot with a CPL. I might be wrong, but I'm seeing some reflections here that would signal to me that, like if you have a look here, that are quite bright. See this here? So these are really quite bright. See all the pixels of the details gone. So what I would do is grab a radial filter, and this is dodging and burning essentially. I would get a radial filter, and I would just drop the highlights in those areas a little bit, and maybe just set the feather out a bit more. Maybe the exposure attach is a little tad as well, just to lessen the blow of that highlight. So let's have a look. That's better. So before and after, yeah, that's better. And now the thing is, you can see this because you're watching me do it, so you know they're there. See that little red patch there? If I hold down the Alt key over it and hover over it, it shows me what I've done there. So I'm going to hold down the Control key, and then I'm going to just duplicate it, and I'm going to drag it over here where it's bright as well, and just sort of try and just do a bit of dodging and burning on the bits that are a bit bright and distracting. And once again, very simple changes, but enough just to really make the difference. So if you have a look at those 2 spots now, so one of them was right here, and the other spot was right here. Before, after. Okay, before, after. Okay, so you can see there's quite a big difference. And what you end up with is something that is just more appealing to the eye. So we cropped it, we added a vignette, added clarity to the importance area, desaturated what wasn't important, and just reduced some of the, the highlights. We could probably do one more. There's a bit of a highlight up here. All this here could be a bit distracting to the eye. We could get rid of that. There are things like, see this little dot here? Now that is just something that's been lit up, but it looks like a hot pixel, but it's not. But I would be tempted to just spot remove things like that. See this little fella here? I just spot remove him. Just distracting, you know. Anything like that. There's another one over here. See this? It might actually be a hot pixel. I don't think so. I think it's just something that's there. Like a, you know, but it just hasn't come out well. So anything like that, you can just get rid of, you know. Just anything that's sort of distracting your eye, just go through and spot remove. Let's have a look then. Let's go before and after. So here's before, here's after. Before, after. Just minor changes, but as you can see, can make a big difference. All right. Great stuff, Rob and Steve. Thanks for sending those in. Really appreciate it. So I'll jump back over here now. But it gives you ideas of some really simple edits you can do that make a big difference. And I think that's the key. It's the subtle things that, you know, make a big difference. There's never one big thing. So let's jump into the chat box and see what people are saying. Izzy says, patience is a skill all us photographers have to practice. Well, Izzy, you practice it all the time. My gosh, all those long exposures, mate. I'm drooling over them. They're awesome. If you don't follow Izzy on Instagram, Izzy, maybe pop your Instagram handle into the chat box. Go and check out Izzy's photography. He does a lot of long exposures. When I'm talking long exposures, I'm talking minutes, like double-digit minutes, like 12 minutes, 16 minutes, 20 minutes, really long exposures, and they're awesome. So go and check those out. So if Izzy's not too shy, he'll pop his handle into the chat box. You guys can go and check it out. Patience is a skill. Yes, definitely when computers are crashing. Susan, put the kettle on. Yes. Anthony lived near the trails, not too far. Where's that? Handy Parts, where do you go? G'day, Ryan. G'day, Mike. Hopefully all's well now. Try Twitch. Twitch, never heard of it. Twitch seems to be for less mature audiences. Are you saying I'm mature? I'm an oldie. Oldie but a goodie. Your opinion, of course. Yeah, that's a gaming site. I think it is a gaming site. Okay. Ryan says, when you add the crop, do you not mind the random ratio? Would you compromise part of the image or add a distracting element if you need a 4:3 per se? Ryan, I actually don't care what ratio it is. I don't care what ratio it is. I'm happy to crop whatever, and then I'll print and matte at whatever size. And the reality is, if you're going to frame something, if you're going to print something, canvases or prints can be made to any size. So suit yourself. You know, unless you're buying stock standard frames and matte board, then that's a different story. But realistically, you should be able to come up with whatever size you want, get it framed, or put onto a canvas, and you're done. And I think that's part of the beauty of what we do is it's an art, right? So there is no right or wrong, by the way. You know, as I go through these critiques, it's just my opinion. I'm not an expert at this. I just take photos and run a YouTube channel. It doesn't make me an expert. The reality is that we've all got an opinion, and there are some photos that have sold for megabucks that I didn't like, you know. And I think I said even with my famous photographers that have inspired me. I mean, Ansel Adams' work. Ansel Adams was an extremely inspiring photographer, but, you know, his photos to me were, you know, yeah, they're okay. But you got to keep in mind they were taken back in the day and with a film camera. And I mean, some of them were good, but like every photographer, we've all got our gems, but, you know, then we've got some that just are okay. You know, they're just another photo. So I think it's very, very subjective, isn't it, photography? Very subjective. I mean, would you pay $4 million for a photo? I wouldn't, but people do. Or people have. So I think entirely up to you. I think you know what you love and what you don't love. Everyone's an individual, and I think that's what it's all about: is expressing yourself. So whatever size you like. There you go. There's Izzy's Instagram is there. Izzy Belila. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Belila, Bulleela. Go and check it out. Izzy posts every day, and if you want to see what long exposure photography looks like, really long, go and check out Izzy's work. He does some great stuff. He's in Australia, and I was lucky enough to meet Izzy. He came on my Tassie workshop that I had back in, when did I do that? May. When we went to Cradle Mountain, we hung out for about 5 days, had a good laugh, didn't we, mate? Alrighty. Chance, doing your cityscape this weekend. Good man, Chance. Looking forward to seeing your cityscape. That is this week's VIP challenge, by the way. If you are a VIP, get out there and do your cityscape. And I know we've got... who is it that's in the Outback? Keeps telling me Paul. Paul's in the Outback. And he keeps having a dig at me because everything we do involves jetties, water, seascapes. And he's in the Outback, out in the desert. So I'm sure they've got some buildings there. Your interpretation of cityscape is what I'm looking for. The good thing about our weekly VIP challenge is it's very loose. There's not many strict rules, so don't worry about it. Alrighty. Cool pics. G'day, how are you, Ian? We showed your kit earlier on. So we had your shot kit up, so thanks for sending that in. Yeah. So Brian has asked you, are you on Facebook? I think he's more of an Insta guy, but I'll let him answer. Alrighty, fantastic. Well, that's it for this week's show. So just a couple of reminders for you. If you're not already, you can follow me on my social pipes. Here they are. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Twitter is just a transmit of my Instagram. So as I post on Instagram, Twitter gets the feed. But if you prefer Twitter, you'll get my photos. I use a thing called Zapier, and Zapier zaps them over there for me in full resolution. So you still get the full image. So if you prefer Twitter, follow me on Twitter. But otherwise, you'll be more likely to communicate with me on Instagram or Facebook because that's where I actually go and post. I've got a new website launching soon. And I have decided for the first time ever, which is kind of cool. You'll hear it first, actually. This is like a big announcement. For the first time ever that I'm going to do a calendar. So I'm going to do a 29 calendar, mainly for myself. But I thought, well, if I'm going to print some up and other people want them, you can get one by becoming a VIP. So jump into the patreon.com/on3legs, and at one of the high levels I'm going to include the calendar for whoever is a VIP at the time the calendar is printed. You'll get one, so if you want to get one. Otherwise, I will make them available for purchase. It's not going to be a money-making exercise. I'll do it at cost price. I don't know how much it's going to be yet, but it's going to be a bit of fun, and it'll be an opportunity for me to put some images in. Now, if you are a VIP, you can help me out in the VIP group. I will be putting a post in there. I'm hoping you can help me pick a few images for me to put in my calendar from my images. So you'll be able to do that. Alrighty. Thanks for tuning in, Dave. Thanks, Brian. You're welcome. Thank you, Anthony. Share your socials in the chat box. And as I always say, I'm really grateful that you sit here and you watch my YouTube channel, but it's important that you get out there and you take some photos. All right, until next week, gang. Now, just keep an eye on my social pipes for next week's Pixel Chatter. I am going to put the computer into Apple to get a look at, and they're not sure of how long that's going to take. It could take a day. It could take a week. So I may not be able to do my live stream next week. I will let you know. But if not, we will catch up the week after. But have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you then. I can see a few more comments coming through. It's a jetty calendar. We could make a jet. That's a good idea. Just 12 jetties. Am I going to make a vid on making the calendar? You know what? I don't know. I thought about it. Yeah, maybe I will. I've got a lot of videos to make. It's such a big list. Every time people shoot me in questions, I put them on my video list because I'd rather do a video about the question because I know other people are asking the same question in their head, but maybe not just ask it to me. So the other thing I'm doing is I've made up a bracket so I can put my D810 and my D850 side by side. I've worked out how to get them to trigger off at the exact same time using my wireless remote. And I'm buying another lens, so I've got the exact same lens on both cameras. And we're going to do some side-by-side shooting. That's going to be I don't see anybody else on YouTube doing it, so we're going to do that as well, which will be a bit of fun for those of you that are interested in the differences between the 810 and the 850. All right, I'm out of here. Thanks again, guys. Get out there, take some photos. Cheerio.